Now then, let's see what they have to say. So the first one is, why are so many enjoying Final Fantasy XIV instead of World of Warcraft these days? And that's a long answer. It's a big, long answer. Let's see what they say about it. Wait. Taking on the perceived problems to give each a fair chance. The perceived problems of what? Of WoW?
So we got a super from Stephen Williams who said, speaking of that non-WoW game, do you stream that one mysterious video game? I played FF14 since 1.0 launch. Would love to watch you suffer. I'm not suffering. I am playing it and currently not streaming it because we don't really have the setup and time to do a whole bunch of gameplay streaming. So that's mostly the answer to that. That said, I am playing with my brain turned on and I'm taking notes. There will be video content covering.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yep. Sandrax joined as a new member. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandrax.
Yeah, cheers. I think 2 more supers before we hop into the news. Yes. One of them, actually, let's do it. It's from Alex Beam. He said this. I tried FF last week, quit after 20 minutes when I was forced to run around talking to lollies instead of kill stuff. Made me appreciate Exile's reach /WoW.
Wow. That's a take and a half right there. Quit after 20 minutes. 20 minutes! Dude's attention span didn't let him go any further than 20 minutes. Imagine quitting a game after playing like 20 minutes. That's impressive. That's friggin' impressive. Just like, I quit. Like, if I thought like that, I would have never given Elite Dangerous its fair shot, and it became one of my favorite games that I've ever played. If I had taken that 20-minute thing. Because the first 3 hours of me playing Elite Dangerous, I hated it. I hated it so much. Because I was trying to do this tutorial, and tutorial was really hard. For someone to get into Elite Dangerous, it's hard. It's rough. Because you really have to learn a lot of concepts, a lot of mechanics. You have to learn a lot of like flight simmy stuff. And it's even not that hard to fly these ships once you get used to them. But like when you're starting out for the very first time, it's super hard. I stuck it out for 3 hours and I was like, Jesus Christ, I hate this game so much. And then eventually after a while it clicked. And I don't know, since then I probably put in like 500 hours into it easily, if not even more. So cannot relate to quitting a game after 20 minutes. It was, what?
So okay. Okay.
The furnace of Matt's heart is growing hot.
No, I'm just trying to think of how to specifically address the lollies part, because if
Lalafell are a bit fucking uncomfortable.
I feel like saying Lalafell or lollies is kind of misunderstanding of the entire thing, but I've been so deep in Weebland for so long that I don't know how to speak to humans anymore on that front.
Yeah, there's that thing of
listen. Let's make one thing perfectly clear, okay? Lalafells are about as lolly as a female gnome. Hey, it is what it is. They're about as lolly as a female gnome. Your game has female gnomes. Don't know what to tell you.
Like, you show a regular person Food Wars, and they will just say, this is straight up. I don't want to say the word in case a bot demonetized us. It begins with PEAD. Maybe people would think that, they look at Food Wars. Yes. The girl with the blue hair is like 13. She's the camera, is she 13? Is she 14, 15?
Older than that. They're like late high schoolers, like university teacher.
I thought they were younger than that in that show.
No, they're like 16 to 18.
Okay, they certainly look.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She looks too young for how the camera treats her. But it's that weird thing of like, if you've been in Weebland forever, and you've seen enough anime things, you're like, well, this is just how it's done over there. Yeah. Whatever, I don't notice it. But I feel like if you get somebody who's, been just all in the Western content, they're going to see some of those norms and be like, whoa, what? Mm-hmm. These characters look like little bizarre children.
Like, I'm sorry. It really feels like this is just a stereotype. It's just a stereotype thing. World of Warcraft has just as much, sexualized content. It's like, come on. Did the stream start a long time ago? No, we've been streaming for 13 minutes.
my thing that I know, say Lord of the Rings, the hobbits, yes, they are child-sized, but they don't look like fucking children.
Yeah, Lalafell are weird because they're potato toddlers, like, but they actually go out of their way to sort of destroy that, because I don't think I've met a single Lalafell in game that acts like a child. Very specifically, like a lot of the Lalafell in like Ul'dah and stuff are just grizzled old bastards.
Yeah.
And it's the same as
Black Desert and Bugatti? What the hell is this ad? What?
gnomes. It's just they look a little bit more like toddlers instead of weird demon babies. They go like gnomes. Gnomes look like weird demon adults strapped onto tiny bodies, whereas Lalafell just look like walking potatoes. In a sense.
Yeah. So it's I can totally understand people seeing the Lalafell being a bit creeped out or weirded out and sort of quitting. I guess for whatever it's been for me, I've been like, well, I know what this is in this world. If I wouldn't necessarily art direct it in the same way. But that said, who am I to really say much to the team that has done Final Fantasy XIV?
Yep.
Now, the other thing from Alex, and this is something I'll get into when I talk about my own impressions, but Alex said, I was forced to run around talking to lollies instead of kill stuff. Dude, seriously, read the fucking quest text and engage with it like it's an actual video game. World of Warcraft literally teaches you to and play and enjoy games the wrong fucking way. Because WoW is so fucking hyper everything towards that sort of endgame style of content.
Thank you! Friggin' thank you! Jesus Christ! I'm glad someone the size of Bellular is saying this. World of Warcraft actually teaches you to play games wrong. Thank you! Like, you're actively encouraged to ignore quest text. Because it's so poorly presented. It is terrible. It is bad. Thank you. Jesus Christ.
If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
The way he just said...
That guy just got murdered on stream.
The way he just said, just read the text. Play it like it's an actual video game. Instead of something that you do while you're watching Netflix. Oh my god. Jeff Droin, thank you very much for being grossly incandescent for 2 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Jesus. I am so happy.
And WoW's narrative content is like so based on walls of text that it basically trains you to do what like legit we all do playing WoW, which is just, wee, I've went through the zone and the stuff is done, now I'm raiding.
Exactly.
In FF, like, in the same way that if you're playing, say, Mass Effect 2 or something, you will have your shooty bang bang bit, but then you'll have your slower character bit. I think the point with Final Fantasy XIV is the slower character bit is them establishing stuff so that it will pay off later.
Exactly.
So like in Gridania, the zone that I started off in, like it was a slow start. And I did have to sit there reading some dialogue that I wasn't super engaged in because at that stage, didn't know the characters, didn't really know the situation, didn't know the world. But then all of that stuff did come together at the end of the initial Gridania story. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And, I'll do a proper segment on the post-Gridania stuff for me. But, I'd say don't play Final Fantasy XIV like it is World of Warcraft. Play it like it's a video game. And that sounds inherently pretty mean to WoW. But, like...
But it's the truth! It's the goddamn truth! Yes, it sounds mean because it's true. I said the same thing. I made those same mistakes. The mistakes this guy made, the guy who spent 20 minutes playing the game, I made those exact same mistakes back in 2013 when the game launched. Because the point here is the way in which you play World of Warcraft, it formats your brain in a way, and you just assume that you're supposed to play other MMOs like that, and it's not. It's actually bad for a lot of other MMOs because whenever they try to do something different, people try them out and they're like, it's like people go into other MMOs thinking, oh man, I hope they do something different from WoW because I kind of hate it in WoW right now. And then the MMOs do something different and people play them and they're like, oh, this is different from what I was doing in WoW. I don't like it. That's kind of the vibe that I get every single time. And let me tell you something. Because, as you guys know, I got my friend Q into Final Fantasy XIV. And in turn, a lot of people started getting into Final Fantasy XIV. And some of those people, from what I've gathered from them, just like, trying out the game and whatnot, they're all complaining like, oh, there's too many cinematics. There's too many talking points. And why do they think that? Because of World of Warcraft. Because they just want to give me that one quest to go kill 10 things and come back. Like, your brain is formatted like that from playing World of Warcraft. It's like, go over there, kill 10 things, bring them back. Go over there and pick up 10 like dog turds. Like, people would rather go on a quest to go pick up dog turds than read text for 2 minutes giving character exposition. I don't even know what to say. It is actually so bad for the industry that there are millions of players whose brains are now just formatted like this. It's like they would literally just rather have a character tell them, I need you to go pick me up 10 dog turds. And off they go. Because they can be watching Netflix while they're picking up those dog turds and they don't actually have to pay attention to what they're doing in game. Ask for their attention span for like 2 minutes for one lousy cutscene. People are like, you mean I have to actually read things? Nah, man. Bunch of lollies over here. What the hell? Turning in quests to lollies. Bah. Nah, I'd rather go pick up dog turds. Way better. Or collect 10 bear asses. Jesus.
I suppose it is in a way, isn't it?
Yep.
It's just that thing, in WoW, like WoW players are so sometimes not gamers. Like all they do is WoW, all they know is MMOs.
Yep.
But like in the same way that people,
This is the
it's like
best.
you send somebody to play an RPG, and then that person skips all of the cutscenes and all of the dialogue and just wants to focus on the content, and then they have a bad time. You're like, well, yeah, you played the game wrong. That's not how it's done. It's not the done thing for video games. That said, A Realm Reborn is slower paced and all of that stuff as compared to the expansions.
Yeah.
And as for the other things, like Exile's Reach, I think Exile's Reach is like really good, but man, if we're saying that it's like incredible stuff, the bar's pretty low.
Yeah.
If only I could
I guess
be
with
so
Exile's Reach, like it is
grossly
more of a simple. You've got Lego, you've got Meccano, or is it? You've got your
Oralaha,
Bionicles.
thank you very
then
much
you've
for
got your
becoming
Mega
grossly
Blocks and your
incandescent.
Duplo,
Tip of the hat.
where,
Appreciate
Exile's
support.
Reach,
Thank you.
narratively speaking, is way more Duplo Mega Blocks. It's like
Yeah.
very, very simple. Very simple. You don't even need to read the quest text. The characters.
Which is
doing
what
their
people
speech
want.
bubbles is enough.
They don't
But in
wanna
FF, it's like you do actually have to
Yeah.
see what's up with the characters, see what's up with the story, so you can actually learn the world and shit.
Yep.
Um,
And it's all paid off remarkably well.
that's it, yeah.
And it's a case where if you give it a fraction of your attention, it will pay you back in more than kind by like everything it tells you. You can tell the writers remember everything they've put on paper and want
Okay.
to pull back.
Okay, wait a minute. What is Exile's Reach? Is that new player experience that they made? That stupid little island with the flying mission and the bombing thing and whatnot? The new player experience that they called it for. It's the level 1 to 10. Really? Okay, dude. I mean, there's no accounting for taste, so whatever. Yeah. Go back to World of Warcraft's tutorial, Al, and have fun. I don't know what to tell you. 20 minutes, lolly.
Like I'd love to see the whiteboards in their offices. They would be like, I'd imagine it's like half of Square Enix's office. It's just someone tracking different characters across. Like the room is like ceiling to floor, whiteboard, just lines everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that, that meme of the board with all the pins across it from Always Sunny. Like that, but for characters because it's nuts.
I guess it's like, this is not a Zoomer game.
No, it is. I don't even want to call it a boomer game because I can't. The idea of boomers too ingrained with man sitting on a ride-on lawnmower in a kind of Monster Ultra Paradise, but it's definitely not. How would I put this? It's very much the way I think Blizzard got so much wrong with the idea of gameplay first, where people think, oh well, that's not gameplay, that's reading. You're like, nah. It's almost the same argument as, well, a visual novel's not a game. You're like, fuck off, you're wrong.
With all of these things, I'm beginning to just take the view of words are almost useless. One of the best words to use, I think, is experience.
Yeah.
What is the experience of this bit of software?
Real estate really, really matters. It's the biggest financial and emotional decision.
Software, and whether that is the form of a VN, or you know, an RPG that's a bit VN-ish, or various different types of games. The bit that ultimately matters is what it does inside you. That's the experience of the game, I guess.
Yeah. Turns out reading is gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're... And, you know, it's another thing with FF specifically. All of those things, it's like dialogue between your character and the other character.
Yeah.
Rarely... Like, it can feel a bit like shit's just being blurted out at you, but at least with, like, how it's written in the framing and the actual process of you clicking through the dialogue versus just click an NPC, psh, wall of text.
Boom!
It feels far more like dialogue, and I think that means that you feel far more like your character, and that doing those things as your character feels far more like gameplay, even though it's reading. Because, as you said, gameplay first. We've got to take an experience first understanding, I think. Oh, Alex says, did a follow-up super saying, for what it's worth, I do request too many proper nouns in the beginning for a brand new player to know what is what.
Completely fair.
I just don't think it's meant for me. Yeah, how many yalms between here?
Yeah, well, I mean,
is like
it's
meters.
just yards and meters. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very old English style, and I think that once you get used to how everyone speaks, it really like engages you in the world, especially with their voice actors from Heavensward onwards.
Yes.
Where they get a bunch of like really British voice actors to do it, and you're like,
Okay.
oh, this is class.
So I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but it's like anytime you see a fantasy movie or a fantasy thing, and you have basically American English being spoken.
Yeah.
And it feels like really odd and jarring because it's like, why are you talking like modern people from the TV? The setting you're, and WoW sometimes does suffer from this as well.
Yeah.
It's like the setting you're from totally does not feel like modern, whatever. I mean, I just watched The Witch, which is entirely in like 1600s English. By the way, Witch is... See all those people downvoting The Witch because it's not like a big shock horror movie? Nah, Witch is fucking awesome. Great movie.
Yeah, no,
So fucking smart.
yeah.
Reading
I wish
Uriange's
that they
speeches of
changed
pain.
more. It's not worth getting into.
Yeah, no, I will say to follow up the amount of proper nouns. Yes, it's very
I found that
overwhelming.
jarring too.
It's really overwhelming because it's just like, you know, but I think a lot of that is trying not to treat the player like they're literally new in the world, because you are just a kind of newbie adventurer.
Yeah.
But eventually all those proper nouns will mean stuff, and you'll know what the world is, what places are called, because everything mentioned you probably go to eventually. Everyone mentioned you speak to or meet eventually, and it's all just kind of like, it's a case of if you stick with it, I think it will be for you eventually. It's just, it depends on what kind of player you are. There's likely going to be like...
I actually don't think that's true. I don't think it's for everyone still. Like, as much as I agree that World of Warcraft, formatted people in a way that, they just look at something and they're like, that's not gameplay, that's text, that's cutscenes, whatever. It doesn't matter from my experience. A lot of people just want to go kill the 10 boars or whatever, right? I also think that 14 is not for everyone, which is not a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. When you make a game for everyone, you make a game for no one. I've said this multiple times. It's like, your game should have a target audience so that that audience can really enjoy that game. And it shouldn't apologize for what it does. Just like From Software does not apologize for the level of challenge their games have, because those games are made for that audience. So it's like Final Fantasy XIV has an audience that really appreciates the deep storytelling that they are doing, and it is made for that audience. And it shouldn't have to apologize or change for that. It should improve. Yes, there are things that it can improve, but I don't think that you should improve based on the sole purpose of like, we need to expand our player base, change things so that those WoW guys want to come play our game. I don't think that is the right way to go about it at all. It got where it is because it's doing something different, and I think that they should focus on that and not necessarily being like, let's change things, let's give people walls of text and just make them go grind bare asses.
There's either no wall, like there is for someone like me, who's fully engaged with that, or there'll be a very, very, very thick wall based on your history.
I'm a minor wall.
Yeah, and if you can get through it, I promise, like, paradise lies on the other side of that wall. It's just a very, very big wall.
Yeah.
That's how I'd put it, I think.
I mean, so there's Rebel here. I almost read your name as Red Bull, which, but you said in FF, I feel like I belong in the world. My character suffers, struggles, has joy, hope. In WoW, I'm just a hitman with plot armor.
Yep.
Thus far, Even though my character is a random cat girl that I made a year ago because I was trying to get a character made in Zodiac really quick because it wouldn't let you make a character unless it was 4 a.m.
Yep.
So even though my character is not really what I would normally choose or anything like that, yeah, in my first like few hours, I definitely, I feel that. And so much of that is because of the manner in which they handle dialogue with NPCs.
Yeah.
And that it feels more conversational than WoW stuff does. I think that's the main part of it. Because it's certainly not in the gameplay. Which so far for me has been circle strafe, use heavy shot, you know, sort of spam your keyboard.
Yeah.
Like right now it is entirely experience, not, you know, rigid view of gameplay that is getting me in that game.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest barrier. You don't actually play the game as a gameplay focused game for quite some time.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That's it. So it's certainly, it's closer to what aspects of WoW felt like in the past.
Yeah.
But it is extremely different from modern World of Warcraft, and I feel like if you're super used to modern World of Warcraft, it is just going to be really jarring.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to me, initially I was like, oh, I prefer the WoW art style. Oh, the anti-aliasing in this engine is awful. Oh, the movement doesn't feel as responsive. Because, like, my initial reaction was, like, totally the reaction of a WoW player.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, until...
Just wait until he gets to 5.3 and sees the Crystal Exarch in glorious big zoom in. Pixels the size of your thumb, my dude. Not even when you see that zoomed in Crystal Exarch, like zooms right in here, and he's got like pixels about yay big. Pixels about yay big. Just like freaking out the screen. You're gonna whoa. But that's because, you know, Final Fantasy realizes that is like, hey, we realize our strength is not in how beautiful our engine is. We don't care. Boom. Megapixel XR. It's almost like, you know, when they censor stuff on TV with the big pixels, it's like the same thing. It's that big. I still don't remember that bothering me a bit. You don't remember it? I mean, it didn't bother me, but it's pretty jarring when you see it. It's just like, you don't care because the story's so good that you're like, I don't care. I don't care that this character's got pixels the size of mega blocks. I don't care. I don't even remember it, to be honest. Oh, okay.
Well, honestly, like a few months ago, I was pretty much just like, yeah, I was basically the same as Alex. I was like, yeah, I tried it, not for me, doesn't feel good as a game. It just, for me, took that little bit of everyone around me screaming, play Final Fantasy. That's what gave me enough fuel to push through my gripes to actually find the game.
Yeah, I can imagine like the sheer like evangelism from FF14 players can seem daunting and almost cult-like to people who haven't played it or like have an aversion to it, but it's because people really, really believe in the experience that it gets you in the end.
Yeah, it seems it's that way.
Yep.
It's really good. Cheers for changes. Where I begin my journey into Final Fantasy XIV tomorrow. Downloaded the launcher and set up a free trial account. Enjoyed World of Warcraft in the past, but it's been a few months since I logged in. Your vids and explanations helped me get excited. No, man, I'm so ready for the experience. Thank you. Just keep in mind, like people have said, Realm Reborn starts off slow. The game, you know, Realm Reborn sets up the foundation. It takes a while to set up that foundation. But once the cards are on the table and they get moving, it's so good. And all of that stuff that you experience at the start ends up paying off, at least most of it, in my opinion. And this is someone that actually played old Realm Reborn, the rougher Realm Reborn. So, go.